This month, the San Francisco-based Smuen Ballet is celebrating the 50th anniversary of the Summer of Love with a very special show. KTVU's Tom Bakar has a look at the elements of that historic time that went into the dance.
The 23-year-old San Francisco-based Smuen Ballet was created to build an American ballet company with a distinctly American accent. And this month, the ballet will present Here and Now, a ballet based on San Francisco's 1967 Summer of Love, a summer that impacted cultures worldwide to this very day.
As far as the Summer of Love, it just seemed a perfect fit for Smuen.
Celia Fushille, artistic director of the Smuen Ballet, says this ballet is a major theatrical work, partially based on a psychedelic drug trip, complete with clothes of the time, big sets, projections, and music from many Bay Area artists, including Janis Joplin, Jefferson Airplane, Sly and the Family Stone, and the Mamas and the Papas. These were turbulent times.
Some of these same issues still exist, or issues of love and acceptance and peace, not war. So many of these issues are still with us today, so it's going to be very timely, even though it's a celebration of this era of 50 years ago.
It was, above all things, this real time of openness and experimentation and exploration. This music is the soundtrack of our lives, and there's so many, for me, moments of memory and recall where I remember what I was hearing when that event happened.
The audience will float through the key issues of a very vibrant era 50 years ago, including Vietnam, drugs, free love, and spiritual openings through music and dance.
In dance, we can be very high-minded and think that it has to be classical music and it has to be of a certain pedigree. And for me, some of the most brilliant musical artists are pop artists, and in particular are artists from this time period.
For more this morning, we are happy to welcome artistic director Celia Fushille to talk to us about this amazing creation. I'll say, first of all, a lot of people don't expect those songs to be put to ballet.
That's true, although it's classic for Smuen. We've always created ballets to any type of music. Michael Smuen, our founder, didn't shy away from Sinatra, Gershwin, plus he loved classical music, so it runs the gamut with what we do.
Was it difficult to come to this point? I mean, putting it all together when you're talking about something in 1967 to bringing it to the stage in 2017?
Well, yes and no. I mean, the project has had a long germination process. Probably 4 years. I started talking to Trey McIntyre 2 years ago about the project, knowing that the Summer of Love was upon us in a couple of years. And it just seemed a perfect fit for Smuen. If Michael were here, he would have been creating to it, for sure.
With that said, do you feel a certain responsibility to quote, get it right? I mean, this is San Francisco. It happened here. People are going to come here with high expectations to see your show. Well,
it's true. We aren't just trying to copy what happened in the Summer of Love, and it's really Trey McIntyre's reflection on it as well. Interestingly enough, although this is something we're celebrating from 50 years ago, these issues are still present today. I mean, he's talking about love and acceptance, peace, not war. So these things are still relevant today, sadly, that we're still having to remind people and for people to be in touch with their own humanity.
So much of the movement, I guess I have seen on tapes of the Summer of Love. You know, a couple of us here weren't born yet. The other one was probably in diapers. It's free-flowing, it's expressionism, it's what, you know, I'm doing my thing while he's doing his, but then I think of ballet as being very exacting, down to the millimeter of where I put my leg or how he holds my hand. How do you combine those two?
Well, it's incredible what's required of our dancers today, because you think of Wynton Marsalis. He studied classical music, but then he breaks off and does jazz. It's very similar in the same way. Our dancers have to be incredibly trained. They're classical technicians in classical ballet, but we're not doing the tutu thing. But just as much as precision, as you say, that's required in classical ballet is required in Trey McIntyre's movements. And so we call it contemporary ballet because it's really taking it to another level.
The performers are all, pretty young. Have they learned anything about the 60s by participating in this show?
Yes, they have. They have. I mean, they've seen footage of that era, and there's been a lot of talk about that in the studio.
And what I love is that they are being introduced to these songs that maybe they wouldn't have been. I mean, we played Mamas and the Papas. I mean, what 23-year-old knows who the Mamas and Papas are, right? So.
Well, we're educating them in many ways, but so many of these tunes are classics. So,
did you find that the dancers were excited or thrilled to embark on this adventure?
Absolutely.
Bringing 67, yeah.
They're so willing. They're so willing. And what's thrilling for any dancer is to have work created on them. That's the most special thing. I mean, sometimes we perform works that are licensed, that are already created. Right. But when a ballet is actually tailored to your gifts and your abilities, there's nothing that you can do besides shine.
You know, growing up in San Francisco, I mean, I'd actually never attended a lot of ballet, and you know, other than maybe a Nutcracker here and there. But I mean, when you bring like the '67 theme to it, it interests me because that's an era where I'm interested in. Do you expect a lot of people or first-time people to come to the ballet and see this based just on that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a great entry point. Yeah. I mean, if you love athletics and you love music, that's really what ballet is, what dance is, and what's required of these people. They're artists. The dancers are really artists and athletes. So you combine that and you have this great music. And we have 2 other ballets on the program, too, so it's a fantastic evening of dance.
Wonderful.
All right, well, we want to give you more information about the ballet. It's waiting for you now at KTVU.com. Look for it in the web link section under the Mornings on 2 tab. You'll also find all the information you need on Smune Ballet's celebration of the Summer of Love on the KTVU mobile app. Well, Celia Fushille, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Did you know that he's a deadhead?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
He really loves his dad.
I wouldn't have
My
known.
mom was never a big fan.